All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Richard.lesperance. I go by the name of my man Richard. Welcome to A Better Lifestyle. Today, I have the pleasure to have Sean Graham with me. Welcome, Sean, to the podcast.
Hey, Richard. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Hey, it's my pleasure. So, Sean, tell us a little bit about yourself and we'll get started.
Yeah, so um, my name is Sean, obviously. I'm based in Detroit and I am an entrepreneur. I focus a lot on real estate. That's kind of my specialty. My background is as a certified public accountant, which I'm still registered for in the state of Michigan. But I do quite a few different things. The three main things I focus on are self-storage. I own and acquire, purchase self-storage facilities here, mostly in Michigan and in Ohio. I also have an overseas headhunting company. That's called Maven Success. And so we help people staff from all over the world. And then I have a cost segregation firm. It's called Maven Cost Seg, and that's to help real estate investors maximize their depreciation losses on real estate to lower their taxable income. So those are the things that I do.
All right. So, we're going to talk about, like you said, like I said before, when before I press the record button about staffing remote employees. So,
Yeah, of course.
you have experience in that field. So, talk to us about your experience in that.
Yeah, sure. So I guess kind of going back, right? I got into real estate and I got into self-storage and I was kind of doing everything myself. So I was looking to acquire properties, I was calling owners, I was building relationships with owners, I was doing all of the accounting work myself, everything in QuickBooks, putting together financial statements, underwriting work, underwriting the facilities, pro formas projections, everything accounting wise. And I was managing the properties too, right? So like answering the phones and literally doing everything, right? And so as an entrepreneur, like you can only scale and do so much, right? It's hard to go focus on doing the next thing or buying more self-storage or building relationships with owners or getting on a podcast like this with you, Richard, right? Like if I'm have to answer the phones all the time and I have to manage the properties, all of that. So I started using overseas hires to help me build that out. And the reason I did overseas is because my what I have, it's not like, okay, I have this huge um, portfolio where I can afford to hire somebody full time from the US to really like do that work, right? But I also want to keep it in house where I'm able to have control over what the property management looks like, what the accounting looks like, and keep acquisitions, right? That's like a part of it as well. And so I started hiring people from around the world because it's a lot more affordable to hire somebody on the other side of the world than it is in the U.S. And that's just simply the value of the dollar in different countries, right? So they have different standards of living in different countries, and the dollar goes a lot further in the Philippines than it does here in the United States. So I started hiring all over Egypt, Philippines, Central America, South America. It's lots of different countries, Middle East, and it worked really, really well. So as I built this out, I saw a need that other people around, other entrepreneurs also needed similar things. So I just started building this out, started helping people hire overseas, which really turned into an overseas headhunting company, and that's what we still do today.
So, what kind of employees do you hire?
You name it, and we probably have hired for it, right? So it goes from pretty simple roles like admin assistants, right? People or just simple like task doers, all the way up to like CPAs who are overseas or engineers who are overseas, right? Like very more complex roles. So, I have a buddy of mine. He's an outsourced CFO, right? And he's doing work and he charges, his rate, right, is so hundreds of dollars an hour. And he can only do so much, right? And he's not at the point where he can hire somebody else just like him here in the US, but we were able to get him an overseas talent who was CPA level, senior accountant, worked for like one of the big four, but certified in his country of the Philippines, right? But very smart, and was able to hire him at $15 an hour. So that's the type of talent that you could get overseas, right? And but I think when people think hiring overseas or virtual assistants, they just think like an admin assistant. And it can be so much more than just an admin assistant. Assistants are good, but whatever you need help with, if it's accounting, if it's marketing, social media, if it's sales roles, right, or just like building relationships, somebody to manage your CRM, whatever it is, uh, you can kind of do it. So I tend to break it down into three buckets. One is acquisitions or sales, right? Those are like forward facing, customer facing type of people. So getting on the phone, calling, building relationships with other people, or helping to sell your service or product. Second one would be operations or property management, right? So like operations meaning, hey, what's the internal engine of your business? So for like, real estate, that a lot of times that's property management, managing what you have, your portfolio inside of your company. But whatever your operations are, right? If you're in graphic design, well, maybe it's a graphic designer. That's like the core part of your business, right? The operations. Um, and then the third is like accounting. I think, a lot of it's expensive to hire CPAs, and CPAs are great, but you don't need CPAs to do your QuickBooks necessarily, right? Like you need them to like help do your taxes or help do strategic CFO work, but you don't need them to necessarily keep everything going on a daily or annual basis for your QuickBooks. So we hire a lot of people overseas for accounting as well.
So how many people you have?
For me personally, I have it's always around 10 people who work for me from all over the world, different times. Um, but then we have, that has nothing to do with the people that we help hire, right? So we have over 75,000 people who've applied worldwide to jobs with us. And tens of thousands of people follow us, follow our business from all over the world. We get an average of about 600 applicants per job that we recruit for, and we narrow those down to the very top candidates.
So what's your recruiting process? What do you look for?
Sure, sure. So let's just say uh, okay, so let's just say, Richard, you are looking for help with your podcast here, right? And you want somebody who's going to help you with the social media work for your podcast. So what we do is we would create a job description. Ideally, like exactly what this job description is because it's your role, right? It's hiring for your company. No one knows better than you do. So first, we get the job description nailed down. You approve it, our team approves it. We make sure we're on the same page. Once we have that, right, there's a small deposit as well. It's refundable if you don't end up hiring anybody, but it's just to make sure you're serious about this. We get the ball rolling and we start posting this job everywhere. So we post in job boards across the world. And we also have our previous applicants that, we are in touch with on a regular basis. And we're connected with different groups in different countries. So we post this everywhere and we see who we try to get the right applicants into the pool. So we start off with, I said, about an average of 600 people per applicant. From there, we narrow it down in multiple ways. One way would be resume vetting, right? So we're actually vetting these resumes to see like, okay, this person actually has the experience that aligns with what you need for the social media, role for your podcast, Richard. So we narrow it down by resume. Then we can actually do skills testing. So actually test like, we use a third-party software to do some skills testing. Maybe it's just like their knowledge about podcasts or about social media and what they're experienced with. Then we do English testing as well. So making sure that the level of English is to the level that you need it, right? Like if it's an accountant, you might not need somebody with perfect English, but if it's somebody who's going to be talking to customers, then you want somebody who can like read and write pretty well. So we vet that as well. And then we do one-on-one interviews as we narrowed the pool down, right? And so we go from about 600 applicants down to about 3 to 5 that we think are qualified to present to you. We present those applicants to you, and then you get to have short interviews with each one of them. We'll line up like 3 to 5 interviews all back to back. You have a short interview with each one. And then from there, you can decide who you actually want to hire and move forward with.
What are the challenges you see in that area, in that field, when it comes to staffing?
Staffing's tough. It's a tough business because not all operators are the same, right? Like how you run your podcast could be completely different than how somebody else runs the next podcast. Or you could be focused on, getting really big on YouTube, but the next person could care less about YouTube, right? Your management style could be one way, like could be more hands off, and other ones could be like micromanagement. So it's a people matching game. It's a personality game. And I didn't mention that we do personality testing as well, but it's tough to always match the personality. So we have guarantees in place. Like we have a quality guarantee where it's like, hey, if you're not happy with this hire, then we're going to replace them. And that's typically, we like to do that within the first few months, just to make sure you're not wasting too much time with the wrong hire. And then we have a retention guarantee, like, hey, this person is going to stay with you for at least a year. If not, we're going to, replace them. And which helps narrow down the wrong placements, but there's always going to be people who don't work out, and you need somebody different. So the challenge is just matching the right person to the right role with the right management style.
What would you say are some pros and cons in regards to staffing remotely? Let's start with the pros.
With staffing remotely, so the pros, right, are you can hire somebody for, it's kind of the 80-20 rule, right? Where, okay, you're getting 20% or 20% of the cost for 80% of the benefit, right? So you can I really believe in the 80-20 rule. And like I said, like the accountant's a good example, right? Like, so you can hire somebody for 20% of the cost of a US accountant, and they can do 80% of that work, right? So you still might need that US accountant for certain things, but 80% of it can get done at a much lower rate. So it's leveraging it's leveraging the worldwide pay scale and economy. That's the benefit. Um, I would say challenges are that you have to get the right people in the right seats. So you could have a great hire, but if you have them in the wrong seat, it's not going to work out so well. So let's just say, like with the recruiting company example, if I have like one of my sales guys, and customer facing, he talks to you, Richard, he helps onboard you, helps answer questions. If I have him doing the recruiting, it might not work out so well, right? Because he might be more inclined to meet people and to build relationships than he is to vet resumes on a granular level. So those are the right people in the right seats. That's the biggest challenge.
When it comes to payroll, how does it work and all the tax implications?
So we use a company called Remote Pass. Remote Pass is fantastic. They allow you to pay people worldwide, and it's all done, through the banks. Also, your employees have an option of getting, or not employees, contractors have an option of getting healthcare through there as well. So we're able to pay people from about 10 different countries on a regular basis, all through Remote Pass. That's fantastic. And we also have, sorry, go back to your question. You said the payroll, right?
Yeah, it's payroll and all the tax implications and all
The,
that. Yeah.
right, the tax implications. So These are independent contractors. Like what Remote Pest has a contract that helps as well. It just says like, hey, this is an independent contractor. This is not an employee. They're working in a different country because they're not in the United States and they don't live or work in the United States. They don't have to pay U.S. taxes. So you don't have to worry about filing a 1099 or anything like that. Um, there's something called I want to say it's W8 Ben, Ben, and it's a form that you can have them fill out that says like, hey, I don't live in the United States, I don't work in the United States, I don't owe US taxes. And so if you're ever questioned, then you have that form on file, which allows you to show the IRS. You don't have to submit it with your taxes or anything like that, but it just shows the IRS that you don't have to issue a 1099 for these employees or these contractors, I should say.
When it comes to online tools, what kind of tools like you guys use, like especially when it comes to cybersecurity?
So we use VPNs, virtual provider networks that they can log into, worldwide. I think it's important as the owner of a business to maintain admin control. So from a tech standpoint, we issue passwords and we know the passwords. We use LastPass. That's our password system. LastPass is pretty good. There's a lot of them out there. I think like 1Password is another one, but it allows you to share passwords with your team and allows you to kind of control them as well. So it helps you generate secure passwords also, but that's what we use. So if somebody leaves or there's a change, then we can reset passwords pretty easily. If there's ever, an incident where somebody's account got hacked, we have the admin control and we can reset everything. So we're based mostly on Google, like Google software. So, we use Google Drive, Gmail, um, we use Google Meet quite a bit, and we use Google Calendar for most things. That's our biggest one. And then we communicate on a daily basis through WhatsApp. We have different WhatsApp groups or channels, and that kind of allows teams, to talk to each other every day.
When it comes to the size of the business, let's say from 10, let's say someone who has 10 employees or 50 employees or even 100 employees, is it the same like same way that you would operate the your business when it comes to staffing remotely?
Uh, that's a good question. So I have not, I haven't run a company of 50 people or 100 people, right? I have 10 people who work for me on, a full-time basis. So I think every company is going to be set up differently. I think at some point, right? Like it's not just the owners and the direct employees, but you have to have that middle management. And I think middle management is probably the most difficult part because you have to hire people that you can trust to then report to you, but they're the ones who are managing all of the staff level people. Um, you can do that with overseas talent as well. Like if you get the right person with the right experience, they can absolutely manage. So it's just setting it up. But I think after you can only have so many direct reports, and I think one thing that's also helped a ton from my end, right, is a role, I call it a project manager. So for me, right, like you have sales, like I'm more customer facing, forward facing. I'm getting on podcasts, I'm talking about the business, I'm building relationships. Then I have my team that actually does the operations in my businesses, right? But I have a go-between I call a project manager who makes sure that like the communication between me and the team, the operations, is on track, that the projects are on track, whether that's recruiting or whether that's cost segregation, whatever it is, make sure everything is on track and we're meeting deadlines. We have updated like expected, delivery dates, and we're communicating with the customers. And that's a really, really important role because operators are not always like great. Like they can sometimes, right? Not everybody is a great communicator. So to have that in between, it really makes it helps. It's the glue to my business at least.
How do you make sure productivity stays on top?
Meetings, I think as an employee, I never liked meetings when I was working for somebody else. I didn't like meetings. It seemed like a waste of time. But now as a business owner, I really understand the purpose of meetings. So we follow more or less the entrepreneurial operating system where we have weekly team meetings, the whole team together, and we run through everybody's um, status. And then on an ongoing basis throughout the week, we do a lot of like individual one-on-one meetings, right? And so I'll meet with my team leads, accounting, I'll meet with engineering, I'll meet with project management. And so I'll meet with individual leads to see where everybody is at throughout the week. And that helps a ton too. So I think it's making sure you adhere to the meetings and it's daily communication.
When it comes to culture, how would someone implement a great culture in the business?
You Look, it's more difficult to build relationships when you're not with somebody, right? Like sitting next to somebody, you're going to be with them 20 all day. You're going to build stronger relationships. It just takes more time when you're doing it remotely. But I would say get on Zoom meetings like this or Google Meet meetings, get on camera, have everyone join, talk, start off with, uh, your weekly team meetings, just asking how everybody is and what's going on with them. And, also get down to business. But uh, I think that helps with the culture. But I think also verbally stating what your culture is about internally and externally is important. So for me, I focus on two main things. One is quality. So making sure the work we do is high quality work, right? And setting that standard, setting that as an expectation internally and as well externally for customers. And the second thing is communication and at making sure the team knows how important it is to have ongoing communication with our customers. Ideally on a weekly or a bi-weekly basis, even if things um, are going to take several weeks. Projects are going to take several weeks. It's just checking in with your customers and with the team, and um, that's how I set the culture, communication and quality.
What advice would you have for someone who wants to start building staffing remotely when it comes to staffing?
Well, I don't really, I don't really like to give advice, but I would say I'm happy to talk to anybody who wants to talk about building a remote staffing company or agency. It's a tough business. It's kind of a thankless business. It's almost like property management where you don't hear anything unless there's an issue, right? People aren't thanking you and saying like, "Hey, thank you for keeping the building so nice on an ongoing basis." It's like, "Hey, we have a problem." So recruiting can be a bit like that, where it can be a bit thankless. Communication is super important with it, and you have to get out there and really, build relationships with people and spread the word about your business. But that's just like any entrepreneurial endeavor. I don't think sales just come naturally. I think you have to. It all works, but you have to go out and market and build your company's name.
Or maybe if I could say, maybe pay attention to if they want to build something like that, what should they pay attention to?
Making sure that you have the right internal team to go out and before you like yes, you have to worry about staffing and building everyone's team externally, making sure they hire the right people, but you have to have the right people internally in order to do that correctly. If you don't have the right people, the right in-house, you don't have the right people in the right seats, it's going to make your job a lot harder to actually go out and staff other people's businesses.
Where can people learn more about you and follow you?
Yeah, so I will put together a link uh, for your listeners. If you want to add it to the show notes, they can just get a discount to it. It'll be mavensuccess.com/Richard, as in your first name, and they can get a discount. I'll know they came from your way. On my cost seg business, I'll do the same thing. It's mavencostseg.com/Richard, same exact thing. And you can reach out to me on my website, book a call, just submit an inquiry either way. And my email is Sean, SEAN, at mavensuccess.com, or SEAN Sean at mavencostseg.com. So those are the best ways to get a hold of me.